This might come as a surprise to some, but the fitness community is full of LOLcows. Now, I'm not the most knowledgeable in that realm, but when it comes to Jason Blaha, well, actually, even just comparing him to a Swiss Army knife feels a little like stolen valor. But he's into more than just bodybuilding.
So yeah, I called bodybuilding a death cult.
Or powerlifting, I guess. In high school, Jason was not only an athlete, but he was already a gifted marksman who could shoot half MOA groups at 1,000 yards. Here, don't believe me? Look at this video he took at the shooting range. I'm sure even if you're not into guns, you can see just how familiar he is with his rifle. And that 25-yard grouping? Looks like he shot it with a fucking shotgun. Okay, so now that you've seen how well he really shoots, I should tell you that Jason's claim to fame is his backstory as a mercenary. In a nutshell, he's told a million tall tales about his dad training him to be a cold-blooded killer who would go on to be deployed on missions all over the Middle East. Since I just read this book and it's fresh in my mind, you know the opening scene of No Country for Old Men? That's not too far removed from a Jason Blaha story. He goes just short of saying that he killed Osama bin Laden. When he was called on his bullshit, he tried to prove it all by getting some other random guy who has zero credentials to corroborate that he was indeed a sniper with the nickname Hemingway. He could tell because Hemingway was always fond of the 308, which just goes to show how little Jason actually knows, because 308 is a pretty common cartridge. Anyway, since then, Jason's continued making up all sorts of shit about being the world's biggest badass. Something he's even attributed to living in Texas.
Because in Texas, we think that sort of thing is fun. We're the most militant, heavily armed, and heavily trained culture on the face of the earth right now. We are the new Spartans.
And having the last name Blaha.
My last name, Blaha. You know many Blahas? Know my family, any of them? Well, you probably don't want to reach your hand too far into a Blaha's pocket, because if you do, you might draw back a stump.
But one of the most telling stories about Jason's tough guy persona is this time where, to get out of going to a powerlifting meet, he demanded one non-negotiable condition: that the hosts of the meet supersede the law. Basically, he wanted to be able to spot someone who called him bald online and fire upon them unprovoked in a venue full of people. And I guess in his narrative, when the police showed up, he expected the dude who rented the place would come out and tell them like, hey man, house rules. Another favorite moment of mine comes from this weird line of bullshit that he had about like being deaf and only being able to read lips or something about his ears. That led to him saying that if he was in a car with someone and they rolled down a window, the noise would cause him so much pain he'd execute them right then and there. No doubt crashing the car and also dying in the process, by the way. It's not a stretch to say he's one of the worst gun owners of all time. And just because it's unique to Blaha, I wanted to address a more touchy subject, but it's Pride Month, so I'll go for it. The thing about fucking with LOLcows by saying they're secretly gay, or at least that they swing both ways, is that it's usually only funny because the LOLcow themselves is homophobic and takes it as an insult. Yes, it's toxic to scan someone with your gaydar and start saying they're in the closet, but with someone like Chris Chan, you're really just using their own toxicity against them. Jason is the one example I can think of where it actually might be true though. I never bragged or lied like he does, but in the past, I pursued girls just to up my body count because I was insecure and I thought that's how men were supposed to feel validated. That's the vibe I get from him. And it's sad to think that if he is gay, that need for validation is why he's been with women who are downright abusive. I've also seen one YouTuber theorize that the reason he hates his dad is because his dad was homophobic towards him, which leads into a really convenient segue out of this topic. The best way to start down the Blaha rabbit hole is to go watch the Fake Merc character study series by Natural Hypertrophy. This guy is Blaha's worst nightmare.
As far as what I want to get from these episodes, my goal is really, first off, to have fun. I just want to expose everything about the guy and we can have a good laugh about it, because basically everything he does is laughable.
And I'm just going to ruin your fucking life, bro, because you should have just shut your mouth. Why would you put me on such tracks? You know I have access to your entire fucking life. I pulled data from your messenger boxes I catfished you several times. I contacted people from your past. You thought I wasn't going to find that shit? You know exactly what I'm talking about here, bro. I know you're watching this. This is here and here. This is the end for you, fucker.
And it's not just because he's a smart guy who's not afraid to get flagged. He marches to his own drummer and doesn't follow a lot of the fitness trends that Blaha either shits on or treats like gospel. Jason's tried spamming his videos with, get this, manual sock accounts. As in he has to log into each one to post a comment. And at this point, he must have fucking hundreds of accounts. But I don't feel comfortable putting Jason any higher than B tier because he's not all that novel of a person. He's a paper tiger, and I don't just mean that he's a thin-skinned pussy. He compulsively lies whenever he thinks of a cooler alternative to the truth because he's an insecure, meek little man who only thinks about his identity instead of his actual life. I'd go as far as to say that everybody's met someone who's at least 50% as fucked up as him in that respect. So B tier it is. Brett Keane is what I'd call a proprietary LOLcow. By that, I mean he's completely unwatchable outside of the times he's been featured on the Drunken Peasants podcast. The hosts have a personal history with Brett, and they've got so much beef from before the first episode that the gloves are off from the word go. Basically, you've got this deadpan, monotone, landlocked manatee who lays in bed all day uploading diss videos that are either outright lies or, like I said, unwatchably boring. Somehow, even though he's so unlikable, he manages to draw other morons into his posse just so that he can send them to attack or false flag people. But Brett is so toxic that he'll inevitably stab them in the back and call them scumfucks, pedophiles, anything he can come up with.
Your content is shit. It's unwatchable. It's silly. It's stupid. It's cyclical. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows you're a giant bullshit artist. And the two retards that don't will find out soon when you stab them in the fucking back. Bloated fucking loser.
And did I mention this all has a biblical slant to it? Well, Brett wouldn't call himself a Christian because that would make it too easy to pin him during an argument. Instead, he calls himself a God believer. But since Jews and Muslims believe in the same God, it would be more accurate to call him a Jesus believer, which is just a Christian in my book. As a point of reference, someone like Almighty Tevin contrasts with someone like Phil because he seems like he's a genuinely good person with principles and boundaries, while Phil is just outright toxic. Brett tries virtue signaling with his Christianity, which he admits he only converted to get money, by the way. But the Drunken Peasants tear down his act like it's nothing while being total belligerent dickheads themselves.
Oh, he's got to make them.
Oh, Brett, because you know so much about relations with beautiful women.
Yeah. Hey, he's got Dorn, dude. He's got
Dorn. Dude, I'd rather just fucking jerk off for the rest of my fucking life.
Every Brit
With sandpaper. With fucking sandpaper. Fuck that, dude. No.
I don't know. Dorn's not that fucking bad.
Yeah, she is.
So it doesn't feel like you necessarily have to side with them, which makes it easy just to laugh at the toxic absurdity of the whole thing.
He seemed like he was really smart. Seemed like he was really nice.
I seemed like I was really nice?
Showing up in my video responses.
What? Hold on.
Yeah, you see.
I seemed nice? When? When the fuck have I ever seemed nice?
Not to mention, one of the hosts is TJ the Amazing Atheist, who built his YouTube career around showing how Christianity isn't even that morally sound to begin with. So nothing is sacred. But the peasants will do shit like give him huge sums of money just so they can tar and feather him live on the show, or just prove their theory that he doesn't have teeth. And it's because they don't even pretend like they're too righteous to give Brett money he doesn't deserve.
Brett, I'm not lying. I will give you $100. I will give you $100 fucking dollars to eat a hamburger.
All right, we're back.
We have offered a $1,000 reward if you will show us your teeth.
Show your teeth.
Show us your teeth.
Yeah.
If you give us a big smile like this and show us what you got, we'll give you $1,000. And if you don't want to do that, if that's too embarrassing.
Hold on a second.
All right.
Brett's had numerous plots to take down the Drunken Peasants, including, but not limited to, hosting a Mortal Kombat-style ladder match in his backyard where each peasant he beats in a fistfight would have to leave the internet forever.
What happens if you lose?
If I lose,
Right.
because I don't have a whole lot of money myself, I'm not a rich guy. If I lose, Then the atheists get to pour a big bucket of chicken grease and chicken shit on my head.
Then this one's great. Trying to get the host to break up the band, essentially, by asking Scotty, TJ's brother, if he wants to live in TJ's shadow for the rest of his life. And then asking Ben, the guy who runs the technical aspects of the show, if he thinks he could start a music career. He even calls Scotty Scott to, give him a taste of what respect feels like. It's so fucking scummy. And finally, just happening to find and befriend a guy who at the time was making thinly veiled threats to shoot up a fan meet and greet event. He's also guilty of domestic violence, plagiarism, writing the worst prose you've ever read when he's not plagiarizing.
The writing is extremely poor. This author doesn't even know how to divide text into paragraphs. That's why I was having a problem, by the way. So he inserts blank lines right in the middle of sentences to create the appearance of paragraphs on the page. That's how bad it is.
And forging emails calling his own kid with hydrocephalus a water-headed idiot. There's a huge series of videos that compiles every time they've talked about Brett on the Drunken Peasants podcast, so it's easy to recommend that as a place to start watching him. Now, it's painful for me to say this.
It's enough to cause a man to find the nearest coat closet and hang himself like fucking Tarzan from the neck.
But just about every piece of Brett content being so intertwined with the Drunken Peasants podcast is actually what holds him back from being any higher than B tier. Brett is only trolled by one group of guys, and if you don't like that group of guys, you're kinda shit out of luck. When I started watching Kingcobrajfs, my first thought was that he looks like a Battletoad and eats like a Ninja Turtle.
Master Splinter, perhaps you'd like to try some pizza. It's marshmallow and pepperoni.
Pig's feet, Doritos, sushi, soy sauce, on top of a mother of meat pizza. What do we got here? Pizza flavored beer, oh snap.
My second thought was, hey, I know that guy. Not literally, but when I worked at a convenience store, the coolest coworker I ever had was like Cobra's long lost brother. So I came in with a bias. Then some of the first Cobraverse content that I saw was bite-sized Cobra vids series on the Wendy's saga. And that early phase is charming because Josh comes across like a quirky guy who's making a real effort to get his shit together and survive on his own in the adult world. Then I visited his channel, and as of today, it's like his brain's rotted to the point that his life consists of drinking and watching identity politics videos, and I know that because he spends the rest of his time putting out these unfiltered, drunken stream of consciousness rants.
My last live stream cut out. Not by choice. People couldn't handle that I was right, and that I'm the supreme ruler of the universe, and that what I'm saying is right. Otherwise, my fucking live stream would have continued, and nobody would have cared. They couldn't handle it, because my live stream cut out right when I was about to do the Elvis Presley vocal covers.
He's become a living train wreck that's years in the making, and he's recorded that process every step of the way. There's an unfathomable amount of footage of his slow motion suicide. Josh is what happens when the high school rebel goth kid grows older without growing up. For a little while, he was trying to become a responsible adult, but then it's like when his responsibility to keep himself fed in his own apartment was met, his growth got totally stunted. Then his only semi-professional endeavor in the past few years has been making magic wands whenever he feels like it. So there's really nothing left for him to do but drink and make impulse buys.
Look at that, baby. 26-pack of Budweiser. Yeah. Budweiser. Now, we each get 13 beers. That's 26 right there. 13 plus 13. Yeah, buddy.
We also got a wee bit of that Wild Turkey 101 bourbon.
When I finish this beer, I will finish the catching cool with it later.
And just keeping my bias in mind, I think one thing that sets him apart from other LOLcows is that he's not necessarily hateable. Yeah, he's committed some war crimes in his battles against the trolls.
Shit, wasn't trying to dox the other person. God damn it. Sorry about that. I was only trying to dox the trolls who sent this, not the fan or whatever. What are you doing?
Cobra, I really don't appreciate you doxing my number on stream.
That was an accident, bro. I was trying to dox that troll's number.
Here's what I mean. When Daniel Larson's at a bar and people call the staff to get him kicked out, yeah, they do it for laughs, but Daniel is also a thieving crime against nature that leaves scabies and destruction in his wake, and if you don't kick him out while he's at a table, you'll lose ground once he's moved to the bathroom. When trolls call a bar to get Cobra kicked out, they just don't have that kind of ammo.
Dude, if you got people fucking calling here time after time, get the fuck out and don't come back.
Dude, I can't control these fuckers, dude.
You can.
No, I
Get the fuck out
cannot.
and go
No, I
somewhere
cannot,
else.
dude. I'm autistic.
Get off your fucking phone.
Yeah, I'm well aware that he carries with him the funk of 40,000 years, but in this case, it doesn't seem like he was bothering anyone. It was funny to sort of spring that situation on him and see how he'd react, but there wasn't a moral element, at least that I could see. Make no mistake though, I don't think you should give him money and support his lifestyle. This guy will fuck himself until he is dead, and he is someone to be mocked. Another couple things I wanted to mention. So he does hold a sort of soft belief in dark magic. I just don't know why he thinks Abaddon, the angel of the bottomless pit or whatever, would grant him powers. I mean, if anything, if I was him, I would think that tampering with the dark arts has left me cursed.
God damn it! Broke my fucking cigarette!
Then I also think it's kind of funny that he's developed this defense mechanism where he uses the term of-age females to keep people from calling him a pedophile. Because yeah, while it's true that the internet is crawling with them, pedophiles sort of become a default accusation, and of all the ways Cobra is disgusting, that's not one of them. He's also the only LOLcow that I've ever seen win a fight, and it was against another addict, but it was a tweak freak. And I thought that uppers beat downers the same way that rock beat scissors, but no. On the flip side though, he's also the only one that I've ever seen shoot worse than Jason Blaha. He's a pretty easy A-tier pick for me. Part of my enjoyment being unironic doesn't take anything away. Dwayne McAllen is boring as fuck. Bro just uploads like 10 videos a day monologuing and playing with Sailor Moon toys.
You're gonna wish you never did that to me, Sailor Earth.
He's only ever had 3 noteworthy meds. Those being letting the N-word slip.
Hold it right there, Blaine. How dare you going around causing trouble on our YouTube channel? And how dare you work for the Negaverse or the Black Moon Clan?
Clearly being in a medical emergency on camera, which put him in the hospital, which, by the way, that was the only time he ever took a break from uploading.
Sorry. Hi, everybody, and welcome to... Hi, everybody, and welcome to Monday Night Raw. Sorry for the long delay. We're not feeling very well. Dry mouth, suffering from constipation. Our body doesn't want to poop anything out. And, what else? Getting cramps. So I don't know what to tell you. We have a doctor's appointment scheduled for 3 o'clock tomorrow to find out what's going on. That's me trying to force my body to poop and it doesn't want to poop anything out.
Then accidentally doxing one of his Facebook friends and thinking he could be executed for it.
And the truth is, Cute Sean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that Lucifer tempted me to be a jerk on YouTube and Facebook today. Sorry I mentioned your real name on YouTube. Yeah, I learned my lesson, I'm sorry. Don't sue me, because I don't have a lawyer to protect myself. I probably end up going to court, you probably end up winning, and I'll go to jail. Or worse.
He's an F tier for sure. I just wanted to call some attention to him since he's given me a couple laughs. Hey, so in hindsight, this mistake seems obvious, but when I choose who to cover next, it's usually just whoever I think would be the most fun or interesting to talk about, so that's why it feels like we're moving from top to bottom. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm also aware that there's a drop in quality between parts 1 and 2, and if I go ahead and make a part 3, at least I have some lesser known guys to cover, so maybe I can just use that novelty as a crutch. Other than that, I just want to thank you guys for watching.